Put a holler at.
It's a black box.
Okay, Joe, tell them about that.
Oh, the Chairman's Retreat.
This is gorgeous picture we found.
Yeah, that is absolutely lovely. Oh, I love it.
That's where we're going.
And yeah, that comes up March 3rd to the 6th. It's really worth putting the effort out. It's a short qualification period. You just have a sense of urgency, get a plan, and just start working it. And there's no way that you can't make this. It's just going to be beautiful. We'll be able to go to Roger Barnett's home there, and what if he
get training from him?
Oh, you took. Did you take out the? What?
There's a couple slides about earning for the Chairman's Retreat right at the beginning of our
it's coming up. It's coming up. Little anticipation.
Okay.
Okay. So Francine Rolling is joining us today, and she's a new director from the spring. Francine.
Yes, from April.
From April, right? And we saw a post that she had created on Facebook, and we wanted to have her come and just tell us her story briefly, and just really some of the things that she has learned and is learning that is helping her move. She's aiming for coordinator, and she just had such great insight. We just wanted to share with you this morning before we begin today's session. So Francine, thanks for coming on with us, and if you would just share with our group a little bit about what you and I were talking about some of the lessons that you're learning that have been so helpful.
Sure. My life has been crazy since I became a new director. I got married. My youngest daughter left for college, and so we have 3 daughters in college now. We moved 2 hours away. I left a full-time job that I really loved and had for 19 years in the social service field. As a school social worker. And so I had all these wonderful new opportunities all coming at once. And so it was really important to me to become a director before I left my former community. I just felt like I really just needed to do that for me mentally, just knowing all these other changes were on the horizon. So one thing I read or heard on some Shaklee training very, very early on, and we've been using Shaklee products for 15, 16 years, so this isn't new to me. But I remember hearing very early on that it was really important to look at what your goals were and where you wanted to be, and look at the people who were already in that position and start emulating them, start acting like them, start, recreating in your life the habits and the mannerisms and the business practices that they were already doing. And so I just really felt that helped me get more into a career mentality versus the hobby mentality. That's when I started chunking out parts of my day where I was going to devote that to the Shaklee business no matter what, realizing that when you're at home, all of a sudden mopping the floor seems like a very important task when, I could be on the phone talking to other people. So I just wanted to make that very, very important. And just looking for the opportunities around myself and learning to ask questions and to be interested in the people that I was talking to find out what their needs were, not what my needs are for them, because that doesn't work. You spend a lot of energy going nowhere when you do that. And so, and I think that also helps combat fears, because one of my fears was not knowing what to say to people. And when you actually listen to people, they tell you what they need. You just need to listen and ask the right questions and get that information from them. And then we can find the resources for them. So it makes it so much easier. And the more you do it, the more you talk to people, the more you ask questions and you practice those skills, that abates your fear as well, because that just becomes just, a part of who you are. And of course, the more you do something, the better you get at it. And the more you do it, too, the more success you have, which also boosts your self-confidence and just gives you real momentum to keep going. I have several business builders now who I'm working with, and so I'm just really conscious of doing things that I want them to do as well. Barb and I were laughing the other day because 15 years ago when I started using the products, I also tried to do a business had no idea what I was doing. It was it was kind of my warm up for where I am now. So I'm glad I did it. But I remember
It was my warm up business, right?
It was my warm up. Yeah, it apparently takes me a while to get warmed up, but 15 years later, here we are. But anyway, I remember listening to some of the trainings back then and telling my upline, Becky Choate, I'm like, Becky, I think I'm ready to do some of those trainings. And she's like, great. You mean you want to attend more? I'm like, no, I think I can do the training. And she was very gracious to say, maybe we should have, get your business a little more firm and situated and that kind of thing. But anyway, I remember that in my mind. And so, and I could say all those things that I heard Barbara Goni saying then and what I heard Margaret Cho saying then and Becky Choate saying them, but I wasn't doing them. And that, I think, is the real piece that, has made all the difference in my business now. Because I can tell you what they're saying, and I understand what is being said, but I can put it into practice now, and that makes all the difference. And just the little satellite dish story guy there, that, okay, so moving into a new home, we had the satellite company come out to install some TV. And so anyway, so this man was in my house last week, very nice man, and he came in, and one of the very first things he asked me what I did. And so I told him that we owned a home-based business, and I helped people get healthier and, blah, 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 blah. We chatted about that for a little while. And then the longer he was there, I was asking questions about him. Come to find out he does not like his job. He has to go into areas of Kansas City that he thinks are very unsafe, and it takes him away from his family, very long hours. He was telling me he has a son with a traumatic brain injury, and what he would really like to do is to stay home and take care of him full time and become a nurse, but he can't afford to take time away from his current job to go back to school to do that. And I said, can I tell you a little bit more about what I do? And he's like, sure. So anyway, we talked more about the Shaklee business. He was more interested in knowing more. I have been talking to him and his wife about it, and we're having another appointment tomorrow to see if that is something they'd be more interested in. But I never would have done that 15 years ago. I never would have done that a year ago. But it's just because I do it so much now, it's just like a part of who I am. And I didn't feel like I was having to give a sales pitch. I was asking him questions. He was asking me questions. I got to share about what I do. And, it may or may not work for him, but it was a very comfortable conversation that could go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
And that's the goal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So what happened with Francine, and it was such an interesting transition, is I used to worry so much about what other people would think of me. I was worried about offending people. Will they think I'm intrusive? Will they think what I'm doing is dumb? I was so worried about what other people were thinking about me. And I realized if that's what's going on in our heads, there is no room left for us to be focused on them. All that thinking is about us. And when I started really focusing on, that whole thing about active listening, when as someone's talking to you, you have to listen so intently so that when they get done speaking, you can feed back to them what you heard them say. And that takes huge concentration. And when I began practicing that, there was no energy left in my head to worry about what they were thinking about me. And that's the shift, Francine, that you made, that it's all about them, it's all about the relationship, and it's all about the connection. We're going to be talking to Ashley McDonald today, and she's going to be telling us more about that and her philosophy around it. It's a perfect lead into today's session. Thank you, Francine.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you for my chance at fame.
There can be more.
I've got your number. We can call you again. Okay, Joe.
I just wanted to quickly tag on to what you were saying, and we were talking about this yesterday, remember, where what you did and what I did, what we've all done, that transition is we take off our Shaklee sales hat, we take off our Shaklee distributor hat, and we put on our advocate hat. And when we think of ourselves as an advocate for other people and what we can do for them, then what, like you said, then we have room. We have room for helping people in our heads. Good point.
Very good. Very good.
Shaklee
Excellent.
goes pink in October. With each Shaklee Life Plan purchase, a portion of sales will be donated to breast cancer research. When I heard this, Roger announced this yesterday, I just went, wahoo. I have a sister who's a 9-year breast cancer survivor, so this is a cause that's very near and dear to my heart. And I thought it was just, I love it that what the company is doing here is nothing extra, just what we're currently doing in sharing Shaklee Life Plan with people. The more life plans that are ordered, the more the money will be donated to cancer research. It's a great program and a great thing for us to share with people. Probably, 1 in every 3 people, Barb, would you say, I have a relationship with somebody that...
Yes, sir. It's 1 in... The statistics now are 1 in every 3 women will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime, and 1 in 2 men.
Yeah.
It's real high.
Wow.
We all know people who are affected by it, and I love that Shaklee's doing it around Life Plan. It also gives us a chance to have a conversation with people, though, about prevention and Nutriferon, and just some other and our diets, and it's a wonderful topic, and it's not about preaching to people. It's about I'll just mention this one other thing. We had a master coordinator call yesterday with Roger Barnett, and he told us that the day before he was in a conversation with the new Surgeon General. And I know there was Margaret Thatcher one day at the Surgeon General. I know, I love it. But I had seen an interview of the Surgeon General a couple months ago, and as he was speaking, I thought, oh, be still my heart. I loved what he was saying. That man is all about prevention. He's all about wellness. He's all about, and what Roger and he talked about, and of course Roger told him about all of us, and what our work is all about, that is that he wants to create, the Surgeon General and Roger, a new culture in the United States that becomes a culture of valuing wellness and valuing our health, and understanding that without our health we cannot contribute to our communities, to our families, and to others. And you know what? Everything that we've learned about what gives meaning to people in their lives is about being able to contribute to someone else. That's like a deep desire within all human beings. And when you are sick, you can't. Everybody else has got to take care of you. And I've been there, and I remember what that was like, and I didn't like it. We all want to be fully functioning, contributing people to our society. And what an exciting idea that we could help create that new image for everybody in our country. I love it. So thank you for Roger and Shaklee for the October promotion for that. Okay, Lisa, let's get us rolling today.
Alrighty, well, welcome everyone. We are starting session number 7, 100 Days to Amazing in our fall business training. And today we have some really great conversations and ideas and things to share with you. It's going to be amazing. Okay, so we want to talk real quick about the strategy in October based around the Chairman's Retreat. So by now, to qualify for the Chairman's Retreat, you'll have to become a director, and you need to either have attended Cleveland or registered for Orlando. Next, you want to focus on generating 10,000 personal PV plus. So we're going to give you just a few ideas of where that can come from. It needs to be generated between August and December, so you're going to need a plan, right? And you need to create, here's a good one, so to create 2,000 additional PV a month for 5 months. So that's really what this is all about. That's the rules of the Chairman's Retreat promotion. So incentive, if you can develop one new director, That's 2,000 PV. And I will tell you, they are actually counting directors that were promoted in July. So if you happen to promote a director in July, you are in the lucky seat. Woo!
Oh, great.
But yeah, and because that happened to me, so I'm in the lucky seat. But if you so you really, if you're working with someone, this is I told our leaders when this was announced, the name of the game here is working with first levels. You know, you can do this by growing your PV through current customers. You see down here, developing your new sales, new purchasing through your current customers. You can do it through new customers. You know, having great outreach. But boy, if you're working with people, growing their businesses, your increase is exponential. That's the name of the game. So get your eye on leaders in your group to help 2 new associates. Go to 1,000. That's 2,000. So you can kind of get an idea of what's going on here. But the chances of earning this really are good, and we want you to know that, and we're excited about it. And I keep hearing almost weekly new people that are on track for it, which just is thrilling. So here is some other great things. So we've all got our eye focused on the Chairman's Retreat, which is the 10,000, but look what they've done. If you increase by half of that, they're still going to give you something. You're going to get the iPad mini. If you increase by 7,500, they're paying your hotel in Orlando, which to me is such a gift. I love that idea. I just love it because, well, to think of what you could do with that. I mean, if you happen to want to bring 4 leaders with you and put them in the same room for free, that's a pretty nice little deal, right? And so then if you qualify for if you do 20,000, it's retreat for 2. So it really is just a very smart incentive and exciting. And I know I kind of have been seeing some confusion around it, but it's not too hard once you crunch the numbers and just spend a few minutes working things through. But you can do it, and we're really, really excited about it. So, all right, Harper.
So along with that exciting promotion, we also we're just talking about what are our objectives today, which obviously all the parts of growing our business are part of that. And so today we're talking about prospecting our community. And as we've been talking about, that this month we're continuing to work on developing those 2 key areas of our business. We're talking about expanding our customer base and identifying business partners and helping them become directors. And what I love about so many of these special promotions is that it is us getting out there, it is us helping people, it is us doing the things that we're passionate to do and being rewarded for those. We're not doing anything different. We're doing the same things, just with a little more focus. And so this week, we will explore the myriad of ways to connect with people in our communities through business networking organizations such as the Chamber of Commerce, BNI groups, and through casual conversations and spontaneous encounters. And any of you who are on the 100 Days to Amazing Facebook page, which I would very much encourage you to get on if you're not, probably have heard some of the excitement around and new exciting things that are happening around our special guest this morning on our webinar, Ashley McDonald. And I have enjoyed hearing the ways that Ashley has just engaged people. And for those of you who don't know Ashley, she is featured on the front cover of our product guide. And but Ashley is an executive coordinator, and she has really just grown her business really from her heart. And if you a little bit of her story, you may have seen her Shackley Effect video, where she was blessed with a baby that she did not expect that she would be able to have because of her health, and that blessing made her want to spend time with him and be with him instead of working a job that caused her to be gone from him all day. And she can tell you a little bit more about that. But so they decided to take this grand adventure, living in an RV and traveling the country, and they actually spent some time. Is that my feedback?
No, that's coming from Ashley.
Yeah, she's in a cafe.
Oh, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, well,
okay.
And she actually spent some time in my driveway, which was such a blessing. And I'm just so excited for her to be able to share with you just some of the ways that she has gone outside the box, that she has followed her dreams, her passion, and using her stories and her heart to really change people's lives. And so, Ashley, I'm so excited that you could be with us and just share some of the things that you are doing and the things that you are learning with us in your portable business.
Yay.
Ashley, are you there? I have two Ashleys, Joe.
Yeah, I know.
And one, I just unmuted the one, and I don't hear her.
I think that's the one.
Should I try the other one?
Yeah.
Okay. Ashley?
I'm here.
There's
It was the
perfect.
wrong one the first time.
Okay. All right. We got it. All right. I think we're there. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
So,
So obviously I am in a cafe, so I apologize for any of the background noise, but that is the life I live right now. So I will speak as loudly as I can,
We're hearing
so the
pretty
whole
good
cafe
right
can hear my presentation.
nice.
Okay. Can you see the slide? Okay.
I can.
Great. Good. Go ahead.
I can. So I think it's really important to share a little bit about my story to really understand why I have been driven to do the things that I have done in my business. And really, I appreciate so much, Harper, for the introduction and leading into a little bit of what we have been through. But our life has certainly been a whirlwind the past couple of years. And one of those big things was that I was diagnosed with cervical cancer, and I was told that I would never be able to have children. And after a few months of really falling into the depths of depression and heartache and eating my emotions, I realized that I deserved something better. And I utilized Shaklee to achieve that. I really dove face first into health and transformation, and I had the most beautiful experience just with myself and gaining confidence and losing weight. And then a miracle of all miracles happened, and I discovered that I was pregnant, which was just such a beautiful thing. But the truth is that we were not ready to have a child. I was just done graduating grad school. I am a mental health therapist by trade. My husband was recently laid off. I mean, we were just in a really rough place. And so that was when I really started to take my business seriously and do a little bit more every single day. But it wasn't until my son was born and I had to go back to work full-time due to financial constraints. My son was 7 months old. And I had to go back to work full-time that I realized that that life was about to pass me by if I didn't really grip it and jump into the arena, so to speak. So I came to my husband and I said, I can't do this. One of the things I say when I present is that I thought the worst thing that ever happened to me was being diagnosed with cancer. And then I thought the worst thing that ever happened to me was being told I couldn't have children. But by far the very worst thing that's ever happened to me was driving to work and leaving my son behind.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the day that I decided that this business was my vehicle for change. And within 3 months of that decision, the real choice to make a difference in my life and the life of others, I was able to quit my job. And that left us with a huge decision on what we were going to do with this opportunity. I didn't quit my job because I made hundreds of thousands of dollars more than my income. I quit my job because I made $1 more than my income, and I was sure that I needed to be home. And so I'm kind of the crazy one, the one that always thinks of the crazy ideas, and I ran to my husband and I said, I think we should move into an RV and travel the country until we find a home that feels right for us. And of course, I was saying it half jokingly, but my husband, being the dreamer that he is, heard this extraordinary plan and said yes. And so in that instant, we made eye contact and knew that it was actually going to take place. But here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. When we decided to do that, we knew that what we were making in Shaklee was not going to cut it. And that in jumping into an RV and traveling the country, we had made a commitment to grow this business no matter what. And that was when I had to come up with a lot of really creative ideas because I was no longer going to be immersed in the community that I knew. I was going to be anywhere and everywhere, and I needed to still be able to impact life, build relationships, and inspire people to start businesses that could make all of their dreams come true. So now we're traveling the country. We are currently in Beverly, Massachusetts. We're staying a little longer in Massachusetts than we thought because it is absolutely gorgeous here, especially in October.
Sure.
So that's what we're doing now, and I'm here to share with you how I'm doing this and how I'm making it possible. One of the things that we heard a lot of was that we couldn't do it. You know, you hear the people, the critics, the naysayers, but there's no way that we were going to be able to make this work. And in our first month going full-time RV, we actually achieved executive coordinator, which was a huge feat for me. Actually, I achieved it, and Barb knows this. I called her that morning. I achieved it on my 28th birthday, on August 28th, my golden year, at Niagara Falls. Believe it or not, I achieved executive coordinator, which just really told me I was doing everything I should be doing. So I'm here to share what it is that has worked for me, and you can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the best pieces of advice that I've ever received, it was more conversational. Someone said to me, you know, when you're in a coffee shop or wherever you are, do you walk away from that area, that arena, and are you able to identify 5 people, 3 people even? Are you able to identify 3 people that you see and know what they were wearing, what they were doing, their demeanor, their nonverbal cues? And I realized that no. The answer was no. And so the best advice I ever received was to become the intentional person who recognizes the people around them. And that was so powerful for me because you know what that did? That allowed me to build connections with people that I otherwise might have missed out on. And so one of the most important things that I do, I work probably 2 to 3 days a week. I go into a coffee shop like this and I spend about 8 hours. I hate using the word work because I don't feel like it's work. The time goes by so quickly and I'm having a blast. But my husband stays with Baylor and I come out and do what I love. And I have this like golden rule that I am not allowed to leave a public space without connecting with 5 people. Now, that doesn't just mean watching them. That means that we've connected, we've exchanged information, we have seen each other. And so this golden rule has been huge for me. And so when I come into a coffee shop, I really set up shop. I mean, really, I am set up here. I've got my computer going. I've got my Shaklee vitamins out, my shake, everything I need, my planner, everything. I set up shop, and then I become intentional. And what I mean by that is I'm looking around for people that look driven, people that look motivated, people that might be working, people that are not working, moms that I can connect to, women that I can connect to, a man wearing a sports shirt, anything that tells me, that reaches out to me and says Shaklee. So that might be, you know, this is some of the examples I was telling Barb on the phone, is I'll see someone working on a computer and I'll just make my way over and say, I'm spending the day in the coffee shop as well. I see that you are. What are you up to? What are you doing? It sounds kind of corny, but you know what? As a therapist, one of the best things that I ever learned is that all people want is connection. And while you feel a little awkward at first, I have never had anybody say, go away. Never, ever, ever. In fact, most of the time, I can see relief in their eyes to have somebody actually ask them how they're doing. And I love that. So really just connecting with people in that way. You know, your child is adorable. I have a 16-month at home. How old is he or how old is she? Just connecting with people in a wonderful way. In fact, today I'm wearing my Shaklee shirt that says, you know, work hard and dream big, and I got it from Cleveland. And I had an older gentleman, I walked by him to grab my coffee, and an older gentleman came up to me and said, I love that shirt. That was my granddad's motto. And we just started talking about Shaklee. It was beautiful. So in every way that I can, I'm signifying what Shaklee is. And I also we attend different churches every Sunday. And in fact, obviously we're always connecting, always reaching out. We just had dinner last night with just the most extraordinary couple, a young man who is in minister school going to be a pastor. And we had lunch or dinner with them last night just to connect. And it wasn't necessarily about Shaklee, but it was about our passions and our dreams and our goals. And so I'm making friends as I go, and sometimes it's resulting in members, and sometimes it's resulting in builders, but all the time it's resulting in friends, and those friends can later on come back and be a part of Shaklee, and or they can just be a giant part of my life. And that's really the beauty of it. I think you can turn your Shaklee business into a reality of living, and it all just sort of weaves together in a beautiful way. So I really love this quote. I think of everyone as a friend. Our world is way too fractured, and people long for connection, and that's really sort of what I was touching on. So connection,
Ashley,
connection.
I just love that, and it's so beautiful. But I think one of the things that you have really done there with that philosophy that you just summed up in the last few sentences is that it's so authentic, and it's so you, and so being able there to live your life out there and to value the relationship and the people, that authenticity is truly, I think, a special thing. And I mean, my mind is just going all the way back to what Dr. Shaklee imagined when he created this business, and I think that's what he imagined. You know, that type of love outreach daily, and then seeing where Shaklee might fit, if it does, but the people are the values.
That was to see the people, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know if you all know this awesome fact, but Dr. Shaklee himself drove cross country with his family in a van long before he started Shaklee.
And he designed the van himself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
It's
he had
an
to
interesting
create
little
the
fact that I
RV.
throw out there.
It was an RV, right? And it was the same. It was actually the same thing. It took him to California, and because crops can grow there all year round, that's a really good tie-in. You're the reincarnation.
I am Dr. Shaklee. I love it.
I love it.
Oh, I love it. Oh, very good. Okay, so now tell them about. This is also very clever. Your smoothie concoction at the coffee shop.
Yeah. So, what I mean when I say being intentional is much more than just looking at people, but being. Now, my team will always laugh when I tell them to do this stuff, but I am the girl who's running on a treadmill and just so happens to accidentally throw my energy chew at the girl next to me. And for me, that is a whoops, I threw it, I don't know what happened, and now we're talking. And I do the same thing pretty much anywhere. Katie Odom and I have actually laughed about this a lot, just being intentional about what you can do to put things in front of people. And one of the ways that I have done that is I make it a routine of mine, a regimen of mine, to make my shake at the coffee shop where I'm working. I happen to actually love it, so there's a reason for that. But I bring my Shaklee shaker cup, and I order my chai, and I particularly love the cafe I'm at today because they have almond milk in their chais, and I just love that. And I order a chai, and I have my vanilla life shake packet, and I like to make it sort of obvious that I'm doing something. I always sit front and center in a cafe so everybody can see me. I pour my chai out into my Shaklee shaker cups. Everyone's thinking, oh my gosh, what is this crazy lady doing? And then I pour in my packet of protein. I shake it up, and then I pour it back into the coffee cup that I'm going to drink it out of. And it is just the most warm, creamy vanilla chai shake you could ever imagine. But it has started so many conversations. In fact, the one that we're sort of talking about today is a while back. We were in Pennsylvania at this time, and I did this, and it was early morning, and there weren't so many people in there. There's probably 4 people, and they were all different areas, but they were all looking at me, so I thought, bingo, here's an opportunity. And I sort of made a joke and said loudly, I promise it's not drugs, but seriously, it's a protein shake. And everybody's kind of laughing, and I said, have you ever had one? And it just started this authentic conversation. The one guy next to me had said something like, ew, no, those protein shakes are so gross, da, da, da. And of course, I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to say, what did you try, and what didn't you like about it? What did you like about it? I had another girl who did do protein. I mean, it was just conversation. I actually got a couple members out of that, which was really exciting. But just starting a conversation. And one of the things that I like to do when I give out my information, I also want to receive information because sometimes people aren't gonna contact you, and not because they weren't interested, but because life is busy and crazy, and they forget and they get lost. And so I actually pull out 2 business cards, and after I've made this connection or had this conversation or had this mutual giggle, I walk over and I say, I have 2 business cards here. I'm going to hand one to you, and I'm going to ask you to write your information on the other one for me to keep. Is that all right with you? And I've never had anybody say no. I just want to be able to connect with you and get to know you more. I'm really drawn to you as a person. And people have been so open to that. I have all these of my business cards now that have all this information, and it's really been truly a beautiful thing.
Very nice. I don't want to lose that little phrase you used there, because we're going to come back to that in a minute. When you talk about permission marketing, and it wasn't just here's one for me and here's one for you. Is that all right with you? So we'll come back to that in a minute. Tell them now
Yeah.
about how you use the product guide. Besides the fact that that's you on the front of it right there.
That does help out. However, this has only been the case since August, and I've used it for a long time. So do not feel that you have to be on the cover in order to use it. We'll just put that out there. So more recently, I was in, I think we were in Maine. We were in Portland, Maine. I was at a Starbucks at this time, and I was having a conversation with the one and only Katie Odom. Her and I are very close, and oftentimes we just talk pure friendship and not Shaklee, but we were talking about Shaklee, and I was on the phone, and I tend to be slightly loud on the phone. And we were just talking about this Operation Beautiful group that we had and all the excitement and what we were going to do with it and yada, yada, yada. And, what was really cool was that just kind of like Lisa was saying, it was really authentic. I was really just super excited about something we were doing with Shaklee. And as soon as I hung up the phone, this gentleman behind me tapped my shoulder, and I turned around and he said, "What do you do?" And I was kind of like, what do you mean, what do I do? And he's like, "What do you do for a living?" That was just the best conversation I ever heard. Was it about your job?
Wow.
And it was so cool. That's when you're like, yes, I'm portraying what I want to portray. I'm making people attracted to me by the way that I live, and that is such a beautiful thing. And so I had, of course, here I'm thinking business opportunity presentation. What am I going to do? And I had my handy dandy product guide with me, which I keep on me no matter where we go. And I said, you know what? Let me share a little bit with you. Would that be okay? And so we started to look at the product guide. And one of the things that I really like to do is say, would it be all right with you if I show you some of my favorite products? There's just so much in this product guide that I could show you, but I just want to start with my favorite products. Would that be okay with you? And oftentimes we're like, yeah, of course, tell me what works for you. And so I'm sharing those products. For me particularly, I love the Life Plan, obviously, and I look at Stress Release Complex and Joint Health Complex and a few other things that have just really worked for me personally. And I'm sharing my testimonies because I believe that sharing the opportunity is less about the numbers and more about the story. It's more about connecting to people. And you're very right in saying that I don't know what it is this person is looking for, but I can learn that by having a conversation with them. And so I'm watching his head nodding. I'm looking at what he's attracted to. I'm asking him questions about, is that something that would be beneficial for you? My Joint Health Complex thing, I hadn't been able to run because I had such bad runner's knee. And since using Joint Health Complex, I love running all the time. I've run 2 half marathons. And so I'm telling that story to him, and he kind of perks up, and I'm like, "Are you a runner too?" And then we're talking about running, and it's just a really, really exciting thing. So I go through this, and then at the very back of the book, second to the back cover, is the options for the business kits. And so I've kind of covered some products, given an overview of what there is, very brief, and I say, there's all these products, but there's also this really awesome opportunity. And for this instance, I say, that was what you heard me talking about. And so here's some kits that really, even if you're not interested in the business, are awesome ways to get started with Shaklee, because you get to try a little bit of all these incredible products that I just showed you. And this is the permission marketing that Barb was talking about. If I were to share with you a little bit more about this opportunity, would that be something you're interested in? And I'm asking because I never, ever, 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 ever give anybody any sort of information, whether that's in speaking and product guides and videos and testimonies and health chat numbers, anything, until they give me permission to. Because I'm not here to sell. I'm here to change. I'm here to change people's lives and help them. I'm not here to sell to them. If Life Plan is not for you, then it is not for you, and I will not know that unless I ask. And so, of course, he said, yes, I would love to know more. And so we were just casually talking. And, of course, about 48 minutes into this beautiful conversation, his friend walks in and asked me to start all over. So I got a lot of practice with opportunity presentation that day. But it was amazing. And here, I like to say, too, that I have, Katie Odom has this. And actually, it's so funny because she's not the one who told me about it. It just turned out we both have it. I have a 31 bag that I keep all of my business stuff in. It's got my planner. It's got my working folder. It's got my laptop, my iPad, anything that I need, my product guide, and it's all right there. And so I was able to pull anything and everything out that I needed, including we have what's called, on my team, we have what's called a builder binder that I went to UPS. It costs $5 and they bind it, and it's a lot like the First Step Guides with Shaklee, but a little bit more detailed. And when somebody starts a business with me, I send that to them. It's cheap for me, but it's a really good go-to for them. And it's something that they can put in the back of their own working binder if they decided to create something like that. And so in this instance, I was able to pull out a little example of what it might look like if they decided to join a business with me. So just a really cool thing. At the bottom, we also have this extra example. I was at a coffee shop one time, and I was actually listening to these webinars, and I had my headphones on, and I was very comfortable in this big old fluffy chair, just kind of laid back and watching my laptop and taking notes. And this lady kept looking over and looking at the computer and looking at me, and then she'd pretend like she didn't see me when I tried to make eye contact, and I was like, geez, this woman is not going to let me connect with her. And so I decided to take my product guide and put it in the table in between us, because it was like 2 chairs and a little end table in between us. And I put it there, and I sort of faced it towards her, but I made it seem really natural, like I was just pulling stuff out of my bag. And then I sat back again and just started watching. And then she really was looking at it and then looking at me and looking back at it. And I looked up and I said, isn't my son cute? And the conversation started and being able to talk about Shaklee. Now, of course, this is something, yes, I am on the product guide, but you can absolutely put a product guide out for people to see Shaklee and look at them and say, have you ever heard of Shaklee? As they're looking at your product guide, because the truth is that our product guide is second to none. It is the most amazing product guide with the stories and the pictures, and it's so modern, it's so beautiful, and so it's a really, really great tool to use.
Ashley, I don't know if you've done this, but a great tip to make that product guide really usable is if you go to a Kinko's or Staples office supply store or something and have them spiral bind it on the left side. And then you can they'll put a clear plastic cover on the front and on the back. And
That's really smart.
And then you get it spiral bound, and it lays flat. It will lie down flat, and it's great to do that.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's like my builder binder with the spiraling. So I love that.
Yeah,
great.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And I also want to point out that while we maybe can't say, isn't my son cute, we can say, isn't he cute? Yeah, right. No, yeah,
you can all say that.
Isn't that a darling family?
Right.
They're very good friends of ours. Those are real people. They are my colleagues. They are one of the people that I work with in our Shaklee business or whatever. I mean, you can.
Yeah, I just heard.
They have an amazing story, whether it's a health story or a business story. They have an amazing story, and you can share that. You can share other people's stories. They're very powerful, and they have a very compelling story that you can share.
Absolutely. And you can say, I just heard this gal talk on a webinar, the other day, last week, last month. You wouldn't believe what this couple's doing. They sold their house.
That's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it isn't. I just want to underline here that all these conversations that Ashley is sharing with us are authentic conversations about connection. They're not about manipulation. They're not about trapping people into conversations. They're about, and I'm particularly intrigued, Ashley, that you are in New England, which I happen to love New England, but New England is known for being, what's the word I'm fishing for? Reserved and even crusty. Crusty.
Yes.
I think that's the word I'm looking for. And I remember one time being in Vermont and with our family, and we went to a raspberry farm to pick raspberries, and this old curmudgeon of a farmer, comes, putting up on his little tractor, and I remember saying, he said, yeah, what do you want? I mean, I am not kidding. And I said, well, we thought we'd like to pick, some raspberries. And he said, well, how many pints do you want? And I said, Well, let's see. There's 4 children over here, and maybe 6. Would that be okay? And so he counts them out, and then he goes, "Now," he says, "now don't go wandering all over the farm. I want you to stay in these 2 roads." Anyway, I loved him. I loved him. He reminded me of my godfather, and there is a crustiness that's kind of associated with New England, and you cut right through it by being loving and open and connecting with people. And you don't know on the day that you're doing the connection what a lifeline you might be to that person. They may have had a very hard week or a very hard day or be in a crisis within their family, and to have somebody extend a kindness, you never know how significant that can be. So I am loving this. So tell us now about permission marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to add really quick, one of the things that I always tell my team is just that you never know who's praying for you to come around. And one of the things that I'll tell them is, if you knew that for every 100 people that you talk to, that you would save one person's life, would you ever stop sharing? And of course everyone says, no, of course not. And I said, well, that's my mindset. If I have to have 99 people tell me no or seem awkward or not really like the connection, but one person's life is genuinely saved, then bring on the talking. Right?
Very good.
So I'm writing that down. That's good.
Going into permission marketing, this is also a really big thing that I'm driving into my team and I drive into myself, is I don't want to be a sales pitcher. I don't want to be like the rest of the companies out there. We need to set ourselves apart, and a way to do that is to be people, to be human. And really, I think that comes down to permission marketing. I'm not going to send you a whole load of stuff when you didn't ask for it. I'm going to ask you first. So one of the things that we'll do, hey, I just watched a webinar and it really touched me. And it made me think of you because of A, B, or C. So really personalizing it and then saying, if I were to send this to you, is this something you'd be interested in taking a look at? If for when the new product guide came out and new products came out, one of the things that I promoted within my team was for them to all go through their list of contacts and call each and every one of them up and say, hey, I'm not sure if you saw all over my Facebook page that we've got some new products with Shaklee, but I just wondered if I were to send you a new product guide to check them out, is that something you'd be interested in reading? If I were to give you a call, would you be interested in hearing more about this? Or to send you some samples, would you be into that? So really asking questions and allowing people to answer. For instance, when somebody says, yeah, I'll take a product guide, that's a really great opportunity to say, great, I am so excited for you to check this out. But before I do, would it be all right with you if I asked a few questions to find out what might be of particular interest to you so I can fold some pages down? Because I'd love to personalize this catalog for you. I mean, what person is not going to go, yes, I would love to share about what's important to me, really, because we're human, myself included. I just love when somebody wants to ask me questions and see how I'm doing. It's really refreshing, and it's refreshing to ask the same thing. So asking questions, asking permission, and really making sure that you always have a next contact. So when somebody orders from me, I let them know, I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for you to start these products. I'm going to give you a call in a few days to make sure they get to you. And then I do that. They know, they see me coming. It's not a surprise. They know that I'm going to call, and I call and see that they got them. And then I say, you know what? So glad you got them. I'm really excited for you to get started with them. I'm going to give you a call in a few days to make sure that you're liking them and see if you have any more questions. And then I do that. So people are expecting me. And then when I talk to them that time, we're talking about the products and what they like and all the recipes, and I'm sending them some more stuff. And one of our tips, and Katie always pushes on this as well, is writing down whatever you hear from them, because if they say something in there, yes, I'm just so excited, I've been so tired lately, I might send them a little something on D-complex, or I might send them a little something on stress relief or energy chews, or anything that might come to mind when I'm thinking of them that lets them know, hey, I was listening to you. But even on that call, when I'm checking in with the recipes, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to follow up with you from time to time to check on you and see how you're liking things. So I just want to let you know that I'll be around and I'll be here to check in on you. So when they see my number, they're comfortable and they know that I'm not calling to sell them anything. I'm calling to see how they're doing. I want to create that relationship from the get-go, that trust of knowing, like, I only call you when I genuinely think I have something that's good for you, and I won't ever send you anything unless I ask your permission first. You know, they're not going to get bombarded with invites and emails and this, that, and the other thing. And so permission marketing has become such a huge piece of my business in every arena and how I do things, and even in life. You know, I've gotten really good with practice at asking questions and asking permission, and really that's all that it's about. A lot of people feel like, well, I don't have that skill, or I don't have that, you know, I'll have my team say, I don't have that skill, you're so good at it, you're a therapist. I say, no, I learned more about therapy in Shaklee than I ever did in grad school.
Exactly.
But truthfully, it's all about practice. My mom is in the business now and really working the business, and I'm just so proud of her because she is the most coachable person ever and just really takes everything I say to heart and is constantly calling me and asking questions. And I am just seeing this transformation in how she connects with people, and it is so beautiful. And so if you're not doing this yet, dive headfirst in and find somebody that you can reach out to just talk about what it is that you're doing and how you can better yourself, because this is a skill to absolutely have when you're in this business.
Joe, I am thinking as Ashley is talking here that this is what she's describing is what it is like in the day of a life of a Shaklee distributor. Mm-hmm. And I remember years ago, Marilyn Garapolo, when she left her job and was able to work Shaklee full time, I remember her calling me and saying, I've got the time now to work Shaklee full time, and I don't know what to do with the time. And what Ashley does is, but I think that's true. I think that is an issue for people.
Oh yeah.
What Ashley just described is what it's like. It isn't just follow up, and we're going to be talking about this in 2 weeks. It's about what it looks like to work our businesses every day, and this is why those of you who were on our session last semester where we talked about the working folder, that's what she's describing. All these notes that she is taking on each of her customers and potential distributors, that's going in a working folder. That even if she is in her RV, if she's in the park, if she's in the coffee shop, wherever she is, if she's got 15 minutes, if she's got 8 hours, whatever, you know, your time is, she can open that working folder and she can see who is it that she's to follow up with today. And it isn't just follow up, it's about contacting and continuing to build a relationship with. Well done, Ashley. Thank you. And you want to see that last that last quote, Joe?
Oh, this one? Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. I love that.
Was that off your Facebook page that I saw that, Ash?
I posted that on 100 Days to Amazing.
Yeah,
that's great.
Really nice.
Perfect, yeah. Perfect. And that brings us now to the second idea for prospecting in the community, and that is with Betsy Learman from Atlanta, Georgia. And Betsy and her upline, Crystal Johnson, they've really built their businesses on networking in the community through business networking organizations. And we asked her to come and tell us a little bit about what that looks like. So, Betsy, there you are with Ralph. Uh-oh, did she get unmuted?
She was once.
Wait a minute, Betsy. Sometimes it falls off.
Here, I see.
Oh, it did. Yeah, let me look. Bets?
Hello.
There we go. Okay. Okay, tell us about business networking in our communities.
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you. I'm just kind of overwhelmed a little bit by being in the presence of you guys. And Ashley, I don't even know you, but I feel like I've met my soulmate all of a sudden.
Aww.
I absolutely loved what you said about, looking at everybody as a friend, and that's exactly how I feel when I look around. I look at people that are awesome and that I can learn from, and that, there's reasons to love them, and, that's something about why I love being able to speak Spanish, because I feel like it opens up a whole new community to me of people that I can get to know and love. So anyway, you don't know it, Ashley, but you're my new soulmate, and I hope we get to be good friends.
I appreciate that.
But I absolutely, I do. I love networking. At first, it scared me a little bit, but once I realized it was opening up this whole new, world to me of these new people that I could meet and get to know and learn from and enjoy, it's something that I truly look forward to every day, every week. And there are so many options for networking, and this list is not even, scraping the surface. I personally have been very active in my networking experiences. I was active in a BNI group, which is a closed group, and I'll explain closed versus open. Open groups anyone can come to, and there can be multiple people that do the same types of things. There can be multiple people that do nutrition. There can be multiple people that do insurance, whatever. And then in a closed group, there's only one seat for each type of business in the group. So they're more focused on directly referring to each other, and that being their primary referral arena. So there's just a difference, and I think both are very beneficial, and because it basically just comes down to developing individual relationships with anybody that you're in community with, whether it's in a closed group or an open group or something else. I am very heavily involved in our local Chamber of Commerce, and it is an open group, and I absolutely love it. And other types of groups are meetups. I wrote down here, do what you love, and actually I heard that from Richard Beers. I don't know, at one of our conferences, but he was telling somebody, get involved in whatever type of group. Might not necessarily be a networking group that does what you love. It could be a Bible study. It could be a MOPS group because, we love, being moms. Whatever it is, if you are enjoying yourself, you're going to be authentic and you're going to attract people to you, and that'll give you an opportunity to talk about what you do. Business expos are another opportunity for networking. I've had all kinds of experiences with these where I've actually had a table, or actually what I've been doing lately is not necessarily hosting a table, but coming as an attendee and going around and meeting all the people at the tables. And I find that gives me an opportunity to really, get to know them a little bit more than if they're walking up to your table. And then another way is just volunteering. I'm in the chamber. I am an ambassador, which welcomes people to the group. I'm also on the membership committee, and I always volunteer at our business expos and the golf tournaments and what have you, because the more you're seen, the more comfortable people are with you. And women's networking. I'm part of our chamber. We have a monthly women's networking breakfast, and I go to that regularly. It's awesome because there's always new people coming, so I get to meet new people every time. But when I go to these things, I'm not necessarily thinking about, okay, what am I going to sell this person, or what's my angle? I'm just thinking, who is this person? What are they interested in? What do they do? How can I help them in what they do? And then I try to, get to know them better, whether that's going to coffee with them on the side or what have you. And I put the MOPS group on here not because I've actively done it, but I know Lisa, who is in my accountability group, has done a lot in MOPS. And that has been a way that she has used to really grow her business. Mm-hmm. And so I know those are very effective groups to participate in and find people that are like-minded and at the same stage of life that you're at, that, care about the health of their kids as they're growing and want some, adult interaction, through maybe contributing to their family, to the income and things of that nature. So there are just so many different options for networking. You just look for something that speaks to you and that you enjoy, because the key is just being authentic in everything you do. But aside from just enjoying it, it has yielded a lot of results for me. I'm like a person that loves to kind of track where where my business comes from and how I found things, so that I can really kind of look at best practices. And I look back at all my customers, and over half of my personal customers came as a result of networking, which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 of my builders, or 49.95s, also came from networking.
49.95.
I know.
Oh, is she a numbers girl or what? Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably isn't a good way to say it.
People, that would be the distributors she's referring to.
Well, I don't call them my 49.95s, but I thought you guys kind of get where I was coming from there. But for me, it's just the beginning with these folks. So kind of just some tips and some thoughts is, and I've already kind of said it, it's just being real. It's about the relationship, and listening and affirming whatever it is they have to say. I mean, and a lot of this we've talked about on previous webinars, but if you're in a conversation with somebody, I mean, somebody says something about their allergies, I don't point my finger at them and say, oh, you should do this or that, or take alfalfa and get on the, blah, blah, blah. None of that. It's just, oh, what have you done? Asking questions, listening for the real needs, and, saying, that's great. That's awesome that you're trying that. I might have some additional ideas. Maybe we could talk about that another time. Again, kind of getting permission to go further. Exactly what Ashley said. And then one thing that I've learned over time is, if you focus on what they say and not on coming into a conversation with an agenda, it's naturally going to lead to something that you'll find where you can benefit them, whether or not that is, through products and health, or whether that's through being able to pass them a referral to help them with their business, or share a teacher or school experience that you've had with someone that is going to make them really like and enjoy being with you, so that you'll continue that relationship. And over the years, one thing I've always heard in sales and in life is, if somebody says no to something, no means not now. It doesn't mean never. So, if you keep that relationship intact and don't just after you get a no, or, you find that, wow, they say they're perfectly healthy, not interested in supplements, if you keep that relationship healthy, there'll be an opportunity down the road where there might be something that you can help them with. One thing I've realized in networking a lot is that I don't talk about products very often. I try to kind of brand myself as to how I work with people. I tell them that, I have a nutrition business, and, that I'm in the business of helping people feel better. And how I do that is I sit down with them one-on-one, and I have a simple assessment, and that is the symptom assessment. I think there's a bazillion versions of that out there that people have shared over time. But I sit down with them, I have them take a look at that. I talk to them about what they're currently taking vitamin-wise, and I, through that assessment, identify what nutrients are really going to help them feel better. And they can, take it or leave it, but it'll be a great conversation, and together, hopefully, we'll learn a little bit more about each other. So, when you do that with somebody, for example, the symptom assessment, it is such a simple tool, and it asks a gazillion questions that you would not ever, you're not going to ask somebody, are you bloated, or, are you depressed? Or do you have anxiety? Or are you overweight? You're not going to ask that, but when you use the symptom assessment and they make a check mark, that opens the door for you to be able to ask them more questions. And so I just find that's a very, very easy way as a second step when you meet with them one-to-one to go a little bit further. And then, of course, in a 30 or a 60 second, as mentioned, I don't typically talk about product. The one product that I did talk about that was MindWorks, because the name was perfect, and the studies that they talked about that enabled them to create the product, really resonated with the age group in the groups that I've been involved with, and that one was one that I did talk about kind of outright through, but using stories of the clinical studies and things of that nature. But more than anything, I'll talk about, this week I've been working with people that I've had 2 people with migraines, and we were able to, in X, Y, and Z, and share what we were able to do with migraines. So a good referral for me would be if you know anybody that's dealing with headaches or migraines. So by telling the story, it makes them realize that you really are doing this work in this area, and that they can trust you and you have a solution for them. So those are just a few of the things. I always am very honest. I share with people that everybody's body is different, and they respond to things differently, and we have a guarantee, 100% guarantee, that if for some reason something isn't perfect for you, then we can look at something else. We can get your money back, and we can redirect and find what will work for you. So just some thoughts. And then just a couple more tidbits. I think it's really important that you, with all the options out there, that you find 1 or 2 things and just focus on that. If you fly in and fly out, you go to something just once, that doesn't give you the visibility and the credibility. People want to see that you're going every opportunity. So if it's a weekly group, you need to plan to go weekly and make that part of your schedule. And a monthly group, you need to show up monthly, and just focus on those versus trying to make yourself too thin. And then I kind of touched on that. People buy from people they know and trust, and the second step after kind of developing that individual relationship is getting with them one-on-one. So, it's not just what you're going to get from the actual large networking environment. It's then taking that a step further and asking them to coffee or lunch, or if they're into exercise. I started walking with a number of people that I've met through networking, and that's a wonderful way to get to know people. One thing I also do is I always, I try to focus on them first. I ask them lots of questions about their business and how I can help them grow their businesses. And I ask if I can come in and see their business and learn about it, so I can better, refer to them, and I can better talk about them when I'm talking with other people. One thing that I'm often asked about in networking is, people run into other people that, do what we do, or are network marketers, or, have weight loss programs or whatever. And, I just don't look at any of those people as threats. I look at them as people, and, I just, will walk right up to them and introduce myself, and I'd say, I'd love to hear about what you do and how you do it and what results you've gotten, and perhaps we can share best practices and learn from each other. And a lot of times there's openings there, even if there's some crossover. We offer so many things with our 4 lines that there's oftentimes an opportunity for them actually to benefit from some of our products, and vice versa. So, I just believe in, don't be afraid. It shows all over your face. If you do, respect people, befriend them, and learn from them. And, I think more than anything, your passion shows. So just having fun with what you're doing and being real, be your authentic self, show your personality, and giving back to others really is the most effective way to kind of be a magnet to the people around you.
Very, very good. Just beautiful.
Excellent. Thank you, Betsy. Joe.
Yes. I'm here.
Okay, so we are going to need to make a little shift in the slides. You want to tell them what the plan is?
The plan is to whip through these slides and see how your photographic memories today. And this next segment we were doing is how to respond when somebody asks you, what do you do? And you just heard a couple of different ways that Betsy. Thank you, Betsy. By the way, that was great. Yes,
so
very good.
So good.
Betsy and Ashley, oh my gosh, they were so good. You heard how they respond. Harper has prepared several slides also about this, about ways that she engages people and helps shift a conversation toward the business, and it's very good. I want to give that adequate time, so we'll mooch that up into one of our sessions coming up. To check with Harper's schedule.
One thing, can I just jump in real quick just to make a connection?
Yes.
Real quick, one thing that I had wanted to say was I absolutely love what Ashley was saying, and it's something that we have been talking about in our team about being an advocate, and that we're building relationships, and that we're not selling to people. We're building relationships, and if there is a place that we can help them, then that's great. And I love what Ashley said about if you had to talk to 100 people to know that you could help one person, that you would keep doing it. And I just want to give you a picture of what that looks like, is because I have had many people ask me what I do. You know, I don't get to sit in a coffee shop. My life looks different, but I'm doing the same thing, and that's at wherever I go, whether that's at story time at the library or, you know, in pickup line at the school. But one thing that I just, as a picture, you know, when I went to a random baby shower a few years ago, and I saw a girl standing by herself, I went over to talk to her. I didn't think to myself, oh, I bet she could be a senior executive coordinator someday and we'll build this business together. There was someone who I wanted to meet. And when I go somewhere, I build relationships. And so, you know, I have had a lot of people where I've asked them what they did, and I've listened to what they had to say, and then I've shared what I do when they ask. And, you know, and I have no idea what happened to those people, and that, you know, we never connected and they weren't interested. But sometimes it's just that one person. And so for those of you who aren't following, Katie Odom, who Ashley spoke of, who many of you probably heard on the business leader call last night, I met at a baby shower, and it was just an opportunity to meet someone new, to build a relationship, and it happened to be the right time where she was looking for something that I could help her with. But you know, not every conversation ends like that, but when you keep being open and honest and putting yourself out there, just like what Ashley had just some amazing things to share that I'm so thankful for. But that you know, that's just a very practical story of how, you know, anyway, that I just wanted to connect those dots.
Thank you. That's very good.
Very well done.
Betsy, did you mention that your first level chiropractor came from your networking?
Yes, he did. And I have, you know, several that came from networking. There were six people that 3 of them are builders, and 3 of them are people that are, you know, enjoying earning rebates back and getting products for free as a result.
You
all
all
of that from networking.
have really validated that. So let's hop to our action steps, and then we'll get to your question. And I will just tell you right now, Ashley. First of all, that was fabulous. But if you mention something that you are using that is not available readily in the field, we got about 87 requests for that business binder that you mentioned. So I forgot to warn you about that. So we will follow up with Ashley about that and find out what is in the business binder and how that is accessible. Oh, you are all so cute. Okay, action steps, Lisa.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, you know it's a good webinar when you start getting texts from your leaders telling you that they're loving this webinar. So Betsy and Ashley, I want to tell you, my phone has been buzzing. People are telling me they love this, and you both did such a beautiful job at, you know, we talk a lot in our business about living Shaklee out loud. When you leave the door in the morning, just live your business. You're not pushing it in anyone's face. You're just living it honestly. And you both gave great examples of how you're doing that with such just real, genuine relationship foundations there. So I love it. Very good. Very, very good. Okay, so here's some great action steps. Now that you've been encouraged and got some great ideas, we want you to have some fun. Get out into the community and just start looking and talking and making friends. Consider BNI groups. I actually personally right now, because my kids are all moving on, this is the first time in my life where I have a little bit more time, and I'm actually looking into a BNI group. So consider those. And just know that people are just wanting someone to be real with them. And so write down your 90-day goal, where you want to be by the end of December, and then you're going to back that up and say, okay, so what needs to happen in October? And then you're going to back that up and say, what needs to happen this week and this day and this hour? So like Barb said earlier, when the time comes for you to work, you know what to do when you're supposed to work, and be intentional and have a plan, and get those goals down, because they really bring clarity. They do. You can't have as much clarity or purpose without good goals. So be ready to respond for when someone asks you what you do, and we will go in deeper to that next week. But it's just practice that. Talk to yourself. I do it all the time. Talk to yourself. Say it out loud. Practice what you're going to say when someone wants to know what it is that you do. And then this is a great time to talk about allergies, talk about the breast cancer awareness and the promotion that's going on with the Life Plan. And just get out there with the intention of changing lives. I love that, and it's what we do, and it's good stuff, good stuff. So.
Very nice. One of the questions coming in is, what is MOPS, M-O-P-S? It's Mothers of Preschoolers, and so that was what you were part of, Lisa, right, in building your business?
In fact, you can trace all my major business, all of my lines, all of my director lines actually from a MOPS talk. And so MOPS is a Christian organization, but there's lots of moms groups out there, so you don't have to just be MOPS. You can go online and find them and find them.
Back at the coffee shop, I can tell.
So I basically do a lot of talk with MOPS groups. So I did one a few weeks ago on household toxins. I'm doing one in 2 weeks on stress in women's lives. But this is a group of young women that are coming together to survive early childhood. They've all got little babies. They need relationships, and they're just hungry for good information. So it's not a place to go pitch Shaklee at all, but it's a place to go reach out and give them some love and some good information. And I have always had great results within moms wanting to know what I do and being able to share with them. And like I said, I have business leaders. I have great members. It's just a natural community of great support. So that's what MOPS is. And you can, like I said, go online, find out what's in your area. I do a lot of speaking because I like to, but you can do other things to kind of connect and see what they might be open to. So.
Very nice. Joe, any other?
Well, Ross asked if Shaklee is comfortable with the phrase Shaklee Wellness Consultant is Shaklee Independent Distributor, and I don't think Shaklee has any concerns about that. You know, we're independent contractors. We can certainly refer to ourselves as Shaklee Wellness Consultant, because that's not implying we have any kind of special degree or certification.
Mm-hmm. Or that we're prescribing, or
right.
You know. So it's okay. Yeah, that's good. But that was a great question. Yeah. But
728 questions on the business binder.
I know. I like that. Jen Zarelli said that she already got her first order after posting the breast cancer promotion.
Oh, wow, great.
Making, so thanks. That's pretty cool. That's great. So, and lots of people just saying thank you, and thank you, all of you. I just got a text from Tara Herman, and she said, I love this webinar. She said, I read a quote recently, we love stories so much, when we go to sleep, we keep telling ourselves stories. And and you see, Betsy talked about stories, and Francine talked about stories, and Ashley talked. I mean, when we learn how to share stories, that's one of the most valuable things about listening to those Monday night business opportunity calls that the company conducts. Is they are loaded with beautiful stories there. Here, and this is why we always bring guests on Thursday mornings, because all these stories are very precious, but you can pick the ones then that relate to the people you're speaking with. Anything else, Joe, there? We got a...
No, I think we've covered the bulk of them.
Okay. So most of them were about the binder. Oh my gosh, you are so cute. So next week, do we have? Oh, we have coming up. There we have it.
I would just some of these questions are really questions that people should be asking their sponsor, or keep going upline in their organization till they find a leader who's active. And some of the questions could be just bumped upline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and we'll be talking in 2 weeks about a system. You can see from what Ashley was just sharing. She has a binder where she keeps her notes for people she's talking to. We all need to have a business system. There are things to learn about how to approach people, how to invite people, but then you put it all together and make sure that you have a system by which you're meeting new people on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. So for Ashley, it's the coffee shop. For Betsy, it's the networking groups. Mm-hmm. For Lisa, it was young moms and inviting them to things and making that connection. It's whatever some people, it's in-homes. I know, Lisa, you built your business on in-homes. Today. In our group, several of the new directors came because of the Health Stories conference calls. They invite people to these very informal 30-minute conference calls. We'll do a session on that so you all know how to put those together. They're simple. So coming up next week, Ashley is going to return, and she's going to pair up with Becky Choate, and they're going to be talking about goal setting and the power of affirmations to help get our thinking lined up to build our confidence and empower us when we're reaching out to people. And then this very topic about creating our systems and how to make contact and build relationships with customers and expose them to all the different aspects of Shaklee, because some of them will evolve into distributors and lifelong friends, lifelong colleagues in many cases. So then we're going to do a session on all the incentives that we're going to collect into one place that people use to incentivize their customers to put in larger orders, to try products that they haven't used before, distributors to make incentives to help them make a little extra effort to reach for a new PV level or a new rank. There's some really great ideas in there. We're going to be having a guest come and share with that. And then in November, early in November, Katie Odom and Stephanie Bruce did a joint business opportunity presentation, and they have updated it, and we're going to be bringing that, and then we will archive that, so you will have a short business presentation presented by moms who talk about how the business has tucked into their lives and the kind of income that they're making and the benefits they're receiving. That will be very helpful. Okay, I think that's it.
Great.
Good, Joe? Okay.
Good job.
See you all next week. Thank you, Francine, Betsy, Ashley, Harper, Lisa. Thank you.
Yeah, good work, everyone.
Everybody. It was a really terrific session. Let's see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.